In 2012, mysterious gates leading to underground cities began appearing all over the world, as if summoned from another dimension. After a series of intense explorations, battles, and exploitations, governments announced 5 shocking facts. First, these entrances cannot be destroyed despite all human efforts. Second, if the underground city is not conquered within the set time limit, the entrance reverses, releasing savage monsters into the outside world. Third, the lucky survivors who get lost inside the underground city become adventurers, stepping onto a tempting path of the extraordinary. Fourth, the higher the monster's rank in the underground city, the more valuable the rewards for conquering it. And fifth, the strongest bosses hidden deep underground can even survive nuclear blasts. 10 years have passed, entrances to underground cities keep appearing and being conquered. Humanity gradually accepts their existence as an inevitable part of the modern world. Recently, intelligence about underground cities and adventurers has started to be released, albeit sparingly. For example, Canada's Adventurers Weekly once published a shocking report: only 1 in 2,000 ordinary people has a chance to become an adventurer. As of July 2022, about 35,000 adventurers have been recorded worldwide, a tiny number compared to the global population. In the eyes of tycoons and powerful corporations, adventurers are not only superhuman warriors, but also golden tickets to instant success. For them, participating in underground city adventures is an opportunity to strengthen social status and achieve unimaginable accomplishments. But behind the glory and fame of high-level adventurers lies the blood and tears of tens of thousands of ordinary people, those who volunteer or are forced onto the brink of life and death. And Trin Hai, our protagonist, happens to be one of the few lucky ones facing that opportunity. Trin Hai stood still, eyes fixed on the mysterious gate before him, scratching his head in confusion. The gate emitted a faint, eerie light, as if whispering a magical invitation. He muttered with a hint of frustration, "Honestly, that's throwing me a tough question." He began considering, his mind swirling with memories 5 years ago. The death rate entering underground cities was 50%. Half dead, half alive, becoming adventurers. Too dangerous. Anyway, Trin Hai was not short on money. He frowned, thinking to himself, maybe I should just report it to the government and the Adventurers Association. I remember civilians who discover entrances and report them get big rewards, probably some rare treasure. He pulled out his phone to check more info, but was stunned by the first headline on the screen. A shocking news report appeared: a staff member at the City Association was arrested by police for involvement in murder and smuggling into the underground city. Trin Hai froze, his eyes darkened, shaking his head hesitantly. Forget it. What if I get unlucky and encounter a corrupt official? That would be like letting wolves into the house. He muttered anxiously, glancing back at the gate, his heart heavy. Selling information to corporations, even less likely. Each underground city entrance can only be used fewer than 10 times. If I sell it, the corporation will do everything to silence me, either cause an accidental death or keep me under surveillance until the entrance runs dry. Trusting the ethics of capitalists is harder than reaching the sky. Trin Hai thought bitterly, a faint, bitter smile curling his lips. But ignoring it won't work either. If the time limit expires and the entrance reverses, monsters will flood out, causing casualties and destroying public property. I'll be jailed for at least 20 years for failing to report. He clenched his fist, determination flashing in his eyes. Yes, then I have to find out which type of entrance mine is. If it's the composite type with a high death rate, I'll move somewhere else before reporting to the police. If it's the hunting type with a high survival rate, I'll handle it myself. He opened his phone to look up information about entrance types for adventurers. When he read the last line, Trin Hai sighed softly, a light smile appearing on his face. His luck didn't seem so bad after all. The gate before him was a level 2 hunting type, beginner level, small scale, suitable for newcomers. 2 days later, the doorbell rang sharply outside Trin Hai's house. He opened the door, eyes briefly surprised to see a delivery guy already standing there looking sullen. The guy handed over a large package, voice even, "Please sign for me." Trin Hai took the pen and bent down to sign, but just then the delivery guy leaned in and whispered with a meaningful tone, "Have you discovered any underground city entrances? If not, why buy all these contraband items?" Trin Hai froze, his heart pounding wildly, a sense of unease rising in his chest. He hurriedly opened the package, trying to keep calm, swinging the stick in his hand and laughing loudly, his voice slightly shaky. "I bought it for fun. The stuff from last time broke, so I had to buy new ones." May I ask if there's a problem? The delivery guy stepped back, eyes darting around nervously, quickly shaking his head. Nothing. I was just asking. With that, he turned his back and walked away, his figure gradually fading under the sunset. Trin Hai watched him leave full of suspicion, slowly closing the door, thinking to himself, everyone knows people are superstitious about the underground city, but being asked directly by a stranger like that is really unsettling. He slammed the door shut, then turned back to look at the package on the shelf, carefully beginning to open it. After some effort, Trin Hai had equipped himself with a brand-new armor set, tightly holding a shiny fire axe in his hand. He muttered with a hint of satisfaction, "This axe has new features." But as he felt the weight of the axe, he frowned slightly. It was a bit heavy. His chest felt tight, but it didn't affect his movement much. It's okay. He stood before the gate, his gaze serious, his heart heavy with worry. Taking a deep breath, Trin Hai pushed the door open and stepped inside. The space before him suddenly changed. Instead of a dark underground lair, as he imagined, he found himself standing in a dense forest, thick foliage all around with light filtering through the thick leaves creating faint beams. He muttered with a touch of excitement, "Not an underground lair. Looks like my first opponent is likely a leopard or a werewolf." He smiled to himself. This outfit wasn't a waste of money after all. Then Trin Hai began to rummage through the status board. According to intelligence, all new adventurers entering the underground city get activated. After a while of searching, the status board displayed his personal information. Looking at the numbers, he couldn't help but be stunned, muttering, if he remembered correctly, the basic attributes for an ordinary person are all 10, 18 is weak, 16 is excellent. Since he hadn't trained, a strength and agility of 9 made sense, but an intelligence of 16 was unexpected. He slightly curled his lips, a hint of pride flashing in his eyes. Although intelligence is the most useless attribute, 16 points is rare even in the association or corporations. Strength, agility, and constitution can be trained and increased, but intelligence, forget it. Feeling proud, he switched to another feature, clicking the mission departure conditions, which displayed the merman tide hunt. Trin Hai's face immediately turned pale, eyes wide with panic. He shouted in shock, "Why a merman? I'm allergic to seafood. Can I just get a normal opponent, damn it?" The scene shifted. In a dense bush, a disgusting merman holding a sharp blade was stalking Trin Hai. Its bloodshot eyes suddenly jumped out. It thrust its spear with all its strength, but the noise he made was too loud, alerting the monster to dodge the strike. The axe blade only grazed its arm, leaving a shallow wound. The merman growled, seemingly having realized the presence of an adventurer in the forest. The battle dragged on. Trin Hai struggled to cope, sweat pouring down like a shower. Finally, after exhausting combat, he defeated the monster. He breathed a sigh of relief, sitting down on the ground, muttering tiredly, "Weight is the difficulty rating in this underground city wrong. One lost fish almost killed me. What if I run into a whole squad? I'd be screwed for sure." Just then, a notification popped up showing he had leveled up to level 2, but right next to it was the word noob that made Trin Hai furious, shouting, "Are you insulting me?" Trin Hai gripped his spear tightly, his eyes flashing with determination. He muttered tiredly, "All right, that's enough for today. I'll hire a PT to boost my stats and come back to challenge again." He returned to his room, collapsed onto the sofa, completely drained, as if he'd just run a marathon. "Exhausted, I've used up half a year's energy already," he complained with a sigh. Suddenly, the screen in front of him lit up, displaying a new notification. Trin Hai was stunned, not sure what was happening. A line of text showed the mission was completed. He frowned, muttering, "I think completing missions gives rewards." The system then notified that it detected the adventurer had left the underground city and began calculating the reward. Trin Hai smirked confidently. "Their demands aren't high. Just give me a common potion to boost stats and it's okay." But when the reward calculation finished and displayed, he almost fell off the sofa. Reward assessment. Common white thermal flask. Trin Hai flushed red with anger and shouted, "Being a noob, how do you expect to rank up from noob?" He held the thermal flask he just received, glanced at the information displayed on it, then flew into a rage and threw it straight into the corner of the room. Who would want this piece of trash? He snapped, his eyes blazing with fire, refusing to let himself sink into disappointment. Trin Hai stood up, got ready, and headed straight to the gym girls' training center. At the reception desk, a smiling assistant greeted him. "Hello, I have an appointment with Coach Ann." She nodded brightly. "Ah, you must be Trin Hai, right? Coach Ann is waiting for you in the VIP room. Please follow me." Trin Hai followed her. His eyes scanned the gym space silently, assessing. He didn't expect such a small place to have a VIP room for rookie adventurers and people who pay a year's supply fee equal to his new book's royalty. But if the talent improves significantly in a short time, this little money is still worth it. The assistant started a gentle conversation. "Have you ever worked out before, Mr. Trin Hai?" He replied, "Never." She kept smiling and asked, "Then why did you spend so much money hiring Coach Ann? Customizing needs a foundation, so a regular coach is usually enough." Trin Hai hesitated briefly, sensing the probing in her question. The direct question was intense. He thought, then tried to find a reason and confidently replied, "If I have the means, I have to hire the best. Aiming to be an adventurer, a regular coach isn't a good choice. That's what I think." The assistant glanced at him with a slight smile. "Really?" Then she opened the VIP room door and continued, "Have a chat with Coach Ann for a bit." The door swung open. Trin Hai stepped inside, his heart pounding. In front of him was a skinny guy wiping sweat, looking like he just finished working out. Trin Hai silently thought with suspicion, Nothing like what I imagined. Thought he'd be muscular and bulky, but turns out he's this soft boy kid." Just then, a muscular, massive man radiating a cold, sharp aura like a blade stepped forward. He spoke in a deep, resonant voice. "My course is this expensive, and you still managed to book it." Trin Hai jumped back, almost exclaimed, "Are you kidding me? This is the real coach and Taipei level, the best in Dongsun." The man looked at him with sharp eyes. "You want to become an adventurer? Training begins." Soon, Trin Hai was exhausted, breathing heavily, almost collapsing. "Whatever fate I have, I can't endure this kind of training." And calmly took the dumbbell from his hand and said plainly, "Okay, that's enough. You've worked hard." "Yeah, 30 kilo 5 times, so the max weight you can handle is about 35 kilos. He stopped observing him from head to toe, then continued, "As a beginner combined with your current weight, this lifting performance is still a bit weak." Trin Hai sat down on the floor, drenched in sweat, breathing hard as if he had run a full lap around Dongsun. He muttered in self-blame, "What nonsense is that? Even though I know I'm weak, this is too little." He sighed, thinking of all the normal guys out there who can lift about 50 kilos while he can only reach his 35-kilo limit. Tu Mao, another trainee of Coach An, stood nearby, watching him with an evaluating look at his foundation. Tu Mao commented with a teasing tone, 35 kilos converted to adventurer attribute is only 9, right? Today, Coach An stepped forward, his muscular, powerful body exuding overwhelming presence. He spoke in a firm, deep voice, saying the strength, endurance, and agility of an average person are equal. The style is too good. Someone like you can't participate in 3 attribute reclasses of adventurer in 1 month. Then Trin Hai wiped his sweat, looked up and asked, "So how long does it take?" An replied with a sharp gaze, "If you train diligently, all 3 phases take about a quarter to reach 11 points. Each type's 11 is an estimated number. According to calculations, it's as strong as a normal person." Trin Hai nodded, determination burning in his eyes. He wiped sweat and replied, "Got it then. Let's start training with a hard work style coach. Where do I pay the fee?" Tu Mao, standing beside, immediately smiled brightly, patted his shoulder and said, "All right, I won't be lonely anymore. Nice to meet you. I'm Tu Mao, an adventurer. Contracted with gym girls, pleased to meet you." Trin Hai smiled back warmly. "I'm Trin Hai, a novelist. Nice to meet you." Scene shifts to a fast food restaurant where Trin Hai and Tu Mao sit facing each other. The ice clinked in the glass on the table. Tu Mao started curiously. "So why do you stick to it like that? You have to sign up for Coach An's class, even though it's obviously effective but too expensive. You're not in a hurry to train by yourself at home or hire a cheaper coach that would still work. Usually, unless you're very rich or have a contract with the association, you only come to Coach An. If I didn't sign a contract with girls, I wouldn't have been able to invite him." Trin Hai sneered, trying to keep a natural look, "Because I have plenty of money. I make a lot of money selling books. If you take adventurer as the goal, you have to find the best place to train." Tu Mao raised his eyebrows, a glint of suspicion in his eyes. "I see. I thought you discovered the entrance to the underground city, and that's why you became an adventurer." Then he became more serious. His voice lowered. "But you took that as your goal." "As a senior, I'll teach you some basic knowledge that's common so you won't get scammed the first time. Adventurers entering the underground city will have titles depending on their behavior. This title can be chosen to wear or not. When receiving attribute bonuses or attribute blessings from the title, other adventurers can see it too. Some hunters specialize in hunting low-level underground city entrances, wearing titles and appearing beside suspicious targets. If attracted by the title but acting unnatural, hunters will know the target has become an adventurer and will track them to find the entrance. Tringhai felt a chill run down his spine, feeling like death was near. He kept a calm face, eyes flashing fake gratitude. Is that so? Learned a lot. Tu Mao observed him and silently judged. No reaction. Seems not a real adventurer. This kind of weak, rich person wanting to be an adventurer isn't worth much. Though Trinhai tried to appear calm inside, he screamed, "Good thing I took off that humiliating title. Otherwise, I'd lose the home-cooked meals." Tu Mao stood up, patted his shoulder. "Brother An's contract is almost done. Let's go." Trinhai was startled and quickly replied, "Okay." The scene shifted to a small office where Coach An sat with his chin resting on his hand, cold eyes scanning through papers. He spoke in a low voice. "Among famous authors, some specialize in writing about adventurers." Uh-huh. No wonder he has money. And the motive to buy my course is to train to be an adventurer. The assistant standing beside nodded thoughtfully, adding, "Moreover, he has no specific requirements for the course, unlike those who discover underground city entrances needing to clear it within a month." Above Coach An's head, the newbie killer title hovered, emitting a faint, threatening light. He frowned, his voice icy cold. Exactly the likelihood of Trinhai being an adventurer or discovering an underground city entrance is very low. So when Tu Mao takes him back, if he doesn't see my title, just follow the normal procedure before the elite underground city appears. Making an extra profit is also an opportunity not to be missed. The scene changed. Tu Mao led Trinhai back to the girls' gym. Today, Coach An and the assistant were already waiting in the lobby, eyes scrutinizing. An spoke evenly. "Contract done. If you read and have no issues, you can go." Trinhai nodded, trying to appear indifferent. Okay. But inside, he was secretly amazed. Didn't expect even girls' Chopopoe-level coach to be him. He quickly glanced at An's head, but didn't let his eyes linger to avoid revealing any unusual signs. He walked to the payment counter led by the assistant. An folded his arms, watching from afar, saying to Tu Mao, "Looks very calm facing me. His eyes don't stop at the title hovering above. Seems like he's not someone who discovered the underground city." Tu Mao shrugged, replying, "No, I'm an adventurer contracted with girls." Then he turned away, mumbling, "Then no need to pay more attention. I'll temporarily provide info that Brother An is a level 13 adventurer, I'm level 6. At the counter, Trinhai handed over the signed contract, saying, "I've signed it." The assistant smiled and returned a copy. "Here is yours, please keep it. Later, Coach An will take you for a physical check." Trinhai nodded. Okay. In the gym, after a running test, Trinhai was gasping, sweat pouring down like a shower, and noted down the stats while ordering, "Stop, no difference. I guess you're weak, no quick agility test. For the next week, mainly improve strength and stamina when you're free." Trinhai wiped sweat, his determined voice sounded, "I'm always free." Anne nodded. "All right, come at 10 a.m. tomorrow." Back in the bedroom, Trinhai collapsed onto the bed, his whole body aching, murmuring, "Didn't expect a large gym to be this kind." Using titles to enhance attributes for new adventurers, then setting traps to fish for them. If I weren't careful, I almost got exposed. He clicked his tongue, eyes flashing caution. No wonder this place has an 8AOA level coach. I fear that adventurer-related services nationwide are full of traps. Suddenly, he sat up, realizing something. Wait, that means the place I bought armor from is suspicious too. Luckily, I didn't buy everything from one place, otherwise it would be like revealing before the fight started. If not, that incident would have been exposed already. He sighed, realizing he had underestimated the danger of this adventurer profession. "I have to change the plan," he muttered. His gaze fixed on the mysterious glowing gate in the classroom. After fully preparing his gear, Trinhai stood before the gate filled with determination, mixed with worry. He stepped in, his voice low, as he thought to train until stable before entering, but he didn't expect the outside world to be so brutal, with attacks everywhere targeting low-level adventurers. Today he was lucky to escape the trap, but it's not like this every day. Trinhai sighed, his eyes filled with helplessness, reluctantly deciding to risk it and continue as an adventurer. He opened the status board and glanced over the new tasks: collect 11 pairs of mermaid eyes. He paused suddenly, remembering the mermaid he defeated the day before. Right, I wonder if that one's eyes are still good. He immediately went back to the forest inside the underground city where the mermaid's body still lay. When he arrived, the stench hit his nose, making him tightly cover it, his face contorted. "Damn, it's rotting already," he complained, his eyes scanning the corpse, which only had the upper half left. The lower half was gnawed away. He guessed some creature had been eating it recently, but the eyes were still intact. Lucky no fighting today. Carefully, he took the eyes, mumbling to himself that he would scout the area first. While engrossed in handling the monster's body, Trin-Hai was unaware of a shadow silently approaching from behind. A faint noise startled him, spinning around quickly. In front of him was another mermaid, its eyes blazing red, as if seeking revenge for its kind. Trin-Hai exhaled in relief and thought, "A mermaid, huh? Thought it was someone else, almost scared me to death." He pointed confidently at the lone monster and shouted, "Just a solitary mermaid! I'm not—" Before he finished, another mermaid suddenly appeared from the bushes. Trin-Hai's face turned pale to purple, cold sweat poured down. "The best plan is to run." He turned and bolted, shouting while running, "Two are attacking me at once." The chase became intense. Both sides were panting heavily. The lead mermaid raised its blade, roaring as if ordering its team to charge. Trin-Hai wiped sweat off his face and sneered. "Ha! You're about to die and still acting arrogant. Didn't you notice your comrades lost your trail?" The monster paused, turning around but seeing no teammates. Trin-Hai seized the opportunity, his eyes flashing deadly intent, swinging his axe with a decisive strike to defeat the monster. Just then, the other mermaid suddenly rushed out from the bushes, but upon seeing its fallen comrade under the axe blade, it panicked and turned to flee. Trin-Hai laughed wickedly, chasing after it while shouting, "Don't run, kid!" Returning to his room, Trin-Hai received a system notification checking that the adventurer had left the underground city and started calculating. After a few seconds, the notification appeared evaluating the adventurer's performance as quite good, but no rewards were given. Trin-Hai itched his head, sinking onto the sofa, disappointed. "This sugarcane thicket was rated higher this time, but no reward," he muttered disgruntledly. "So the item drop rate in the underground city at the beginner level is this low? No, if other adventurers face this too, how are they supposed to make money? Or is there some knowledge I don't know? Tomorrow I'll ask Tu Mao and Trainer An, but I have to behave first until I confirm they're no longer watching me and the rookie adventurers have access to the underground city." The next day, Trin-Hai went to the gym and asked An's assistant, "Hey, Tu Mao and Trainer An aren't here." She smiled brightly. "Tu Mao went to the neighboring city and will be back in a few days. Trainer An has some work, so he hasn't come yet." Trin-Hai nodded and replied, "Okay then, I'll go train in the VIP room first." A few days later, in the training room, Trin-Hai was running on the treadmill, drenched in sweat, while Tu Mao and Trainer An stood nearby observing. Tu Mao spoke up, "I was out for a few days. This is his intensity." An nodded in a low voice. "Yeah, he's diligent. If he keeps this up, he'll soon raise his strength and agility to level 11. He paused, then continued, "If he maintains this pace and stays injury-free in 1 quarter, he could reach level 12. Tu Mao turned curiously and asked, "Speaking of which, is the Magic Guild planning to recruit him for the girls' team? Someone both rich and motivated like this could become a loyal adventurer." An shook his head with a cold gaze. "I asked before you came back, but was refused. He wants to take the black market path to become an adventurer." Tu Mao shrugged and sighed, "Well then, forget it." Meanwhile, Trin-Hai kept training hard, sweat pouring even though his body was exhausted, his eyes burning with determination. Tu Mao stepped forward and patted Trin-Hai's shoulder with a hint of worry. "You're pushing too hard. You could get hurt that way." Trin-Hai wiped his sweat, responding with a forced smile. "The sooner the better. If it drags on, my money won't last." From Mao pondered, his gaze flickering as if weighing options, thinking about the black market prices for adventurers, where costs increase over time and with level. Finally, he reluctantly nodded. At the fast food joint, Trin-Hai chewed on a sandwich while lost in thought, confident that From Mao and Coach An had ruled out the possibility that he was an adventurer with access to the underground city. He silently resolved to wait for the right opportunity next. From Mao suddenly stepped forward and sat opposite him, looking at him curiously. "Why so spaced out? What are you thinking about?" Trin-Hai startled and gave a forced laugh. "Not sure. I guess I'm just a bit tired, a little out of it." From Mao frowned seriously. "That's not good. Training too hard can easily lead to injuries, and if you get hurt, it'll affect your progress. Trinhai nodded, eyes flashing with alertness. Yeah, I know. I'll probably cut back on the volume. From Mao shrugged and asked, So far, have you made any money from this profession? Trinhai shook his head with a bitter smile. It's still early. At this rate, I won't break even until I reach level 11. He was curious. Why does it have to be after level 11? From Mao took a sip of water and explained with experience. Because low-level adventurers levels 1 to 5 are easy. There's usually a veteran leading the team to complete missions and return, so the death rate is extremely low. Adventurers without ambition usually choose this path. At levels 6 to 10, mission difficulty rises and information about monsters becomes more valuable. At this stage, most focus on gathering intel. Even though the survival rate is not as high, they can still keep playing. Only at level 11 does the underground city's difficulty ramp up to an unplayable level. That's when adventurers like me start to make a profit. At this stage, adventurers really need to boost their strength equipment talismans and skill books, all of which increase survival chances and sell for good prices. Trinhai pondered and asked, I don't get it. If the underground city is that dangerous after level 11, why not accumulate resources from level 6 to 10? Before he could finish, From Mao cut in evenly. There are many reasons. First, the Adventurer Guild doesn't force adventurers to go underground, so most only consider whether to return to normal life when they reach level 11. Besides, what the underground city produces is only enough to help adventurers just stand their ground a little. Compared to levels 11 to 15, which are both high income and dangerous gathering intel, and doing logistics at levels 6 to 10 lets you make back some initial investment. They don't have to risk their lives at higher levels. Trinhai's face darkened, his eyes dimmed as he realized the truth. So that's how it is. That's why adventurers split up from level 6, not before. Scene shifts to home. Trinhai sank onto the sofa, scrolling through his phone, eyes glued to adventurer forums. Got it, he muttered wearily. No wonder I couldn't find much useful info or tips. It turned out most adventurers made money by selling information tips and reliable news, all required fees. Low-level adventurers caught possessing an entrance to the underground city get completely ripped off. He sighed, eyes flashing with surprise mixed with caution. But what shocked him more was that this underground city only rewarded clearing stages, turning those who accidentally entered into adventurers only through those two things. He stood up and began putting on armor to check his gear again. I'm not short on money, but with all the dangers out there, it's best to get out of this underground city on my own first, then decide whether to stay an adventurer. He frowned, thinking, yeah, I'll use... From Mao's method first, focus on gathering intel, get a clear picture, then tackle the stages. Trinhai looked at the sudden mission notification on the status board and muttered, This mission doesn't require fighting. Luckily, I checked with From Mao and bought a flycam for support. Otherwise, wandering to that lake on my own, who knows when I'd finish. In the forest inside the underground city, a tide of mer people gathered. Suddenly, a mer person looked up and spotted the flycam flying overhead. Through the sharp screen, Trinhai observed the entire formation of the monster group. Among them, a mer person stood out with sharp teeth and bright red scales exuding a fierce aura. It howled suspiciously. Was that just now a mer person? Trinhai frowned, thinking. The flycam image is really clear. Its appearance is just a bit superior, and its aura is completely different from the frog-faced merman I've met before. But it's probably just a merman, only at a higher and stronger level. He shook his head and walked away, ignoring it. First, complete the escape mission, then come back to find that orange merman. Then Trinhai pressed the button to control the flycam to fly deep into the forest, cautiously searching for a path. The noisy engine sound of the device accidentally attracted the attention of a few mermen. After a while of searching, he cheered, Thank goodness ahead is a large lake hidden deep in the forest. No wonder the underground city has such deep terrain and has mermen. It turns out this place has a lake like this. The escape mission is considered completed. The system immediately updated the upgraded map summarizing the underground city. Suddenly, a rustling sound from the bushes startled Trinhai. In the blink of an eye, that red-orange merman stood towering right in front of him. The speed was terrifying. It staggered forward, mouth wide open as if trying to swallow Trinhai whole. Reacting instantly, he raised the flycam controller to block the attack right in front of his chest. Otherwise, he would be done for. He glanced at the expensive flycam now covered in dust and sand, feeling regretful. Not the time, not the moment to think about this. This merman is too fast, must be very careful. Before he could steady himself, 3 other mermen suddenly appeared surrounding Trinhai. One of them lunged forward, sharp claws tearing through the links of his armor. Blood splattered, soaking his right arm. Trin Hai gritted his teeth, thinking, "This is dangerous. Without the armor, I definitely would have lost my arm." The elite merman stood still, eyes showing surprise. It muttered as if in disbelief. "How is humanity so hard to kill?" Then it shouted, calling its comrades, "You guys hurry up and help." The tide of mermen simultaneously raised their weapons and approached aggressively. Trin Hai glanced toward the exit, a thought flashing. Maybe I should run. But the current situation did not allow it. No matter what, the difficulty in this underground city is truly disgusting. At that moment, the system screen displayed a notification. The Tide Merman underground city level is challenging the escape mission through the gate is being repeated. Scene changes to another cave in the underground city. Loud bangs echoed repeatedly. Two men, a level 5 adventurer with the title Thunder Punch, stood amid a pile of Golan monster corpses, sneering, "Hey boss, you're acting like you're taking out your anger on the monster corpses." The person standing next to the boss was a top 500 global entrepreneur in Daivu technology, also a level 5 contract adventurer with the title 5 Flame Destruction Ball. He shrugged, voice deep. "Fixing the root cause is because this Golan is too weak, couldn't withstand my punch." The boss stood upright, exuding confident aura, not shy at all about showing personality. Two men glanced at the crushed Golan corpse on the wall, thinking, it's surprising it could even survive. Even as just a level 5 adventurer, the boss's overall strength was no less than a level 9. He laughed loudly, fiercely. Of course, if this boss met a legendary bug, he'd face monsters only found in the next level underground city. Win or lose, as long as I keep my life, I'll get the reward to compensate for the level-up ticket. Then I will get closer to the legendary adventurer tier. Tu Ming was speechless, eyes showing astonishment. Both level 5s, yet he's aiming for legendary level. He thought silently. Definitely not the same class, hard to have a conversation. But about the level-up ticket and how to get it, Tu Ming just shook his head. No matter what, it's just a rumor. Scene shifts. Trin Hai stands surrounded by Tide Mermen, face pale, muttering with dissatisfaction. "Damn, just getting ready to run and you throw a punch. Damn it, do you want to kill me or what?" He glanced at the mission on the system escape mission, survive more than 3 minutes under pursuit from extremely powerful mermen. A completes the mission and receives an additional reward level-up ticket for the elite merman with radiant red-orange scales. Roaring, he commanded his subordinates to charge, and the chaotic battle erupted. A hoarse sound escaped from Trin Hai's throat. Blood pouring from his head dyed his face red, only revealing his stunned eyes. He knelt down, hands hanging limply, expression helpless. The elite merman relaxed his guard and sneered, "If you knew that you shouldn't have become an adventurer." Its sharp tongue pressed coldly against his neck, but in that moment a flash of memory reflected through Trin Hai's mind. He thought silently over the years he had always dreamed about the underground city. If he were an adventurer, he wouldn't be like the main character in books, constantly facing danger and experiencing life-or-death moments, despite fear and weakness. Trin Hai knew his adventurer life couldn't end here. His will blazed as he gripped the axe handle tightly, his eyes flashing with determination. "Those who dare block my path will have to take their chances with me." The elite merman turned his head only to see Trin Hai standing up, spinning around to face the Tide Mermen. He silently wondered what he had left, what he could still use. As if answering his thoughts, the system displayed a notification with the most suitable new title, "Equal in Strength and Skill with the Tide Mermen." Trin Hai instantly activated the title. The system automatically searched for the strongest merman and granted identical attributes, +1 strength, 8 speed, 6 perception. But in an instant, Trin Hai felt his body become light as a feather, his limbs more agile than ever. He spun and guided the spear thrust, each move decisive without hesitation. Strength, speed, and vision all surged dramatically. One axe strike severed the Tide Merman before the horrified eyes of his comrades. Trin Hai smirked. "All right, at this speed I can do it." His cold gaze made the remaining mermen tremble. One by one they fell, some beheaded, others cut in half, not a single body left intact. The elite merman leader of the monsters froze, his eyes blazing red in shock as his subordinates lay scattered with mangled corpses. He muttered doubtfully, "Strange, this human has changed completely. What has he done?" Trin Hai, filled with murderous intent, charged straight at him, shouting loudly, "You're the last one!" The elite merman boss immediately heightened his alertness and roared, "You've only defeated a few low-level ones, don't get cocky." Trin Hai knew that even with his boosted body attributes and added iron armor from the title, it would still be hard to take down this orange-red monster. He threw the axe aside, grabbed a nearby spear tip, eyes flashing with determination. If I don't try, how will I know there's only one chance? He quickly analyzed his head was unprotected, which was a weakness, but the merman's attack patterns clearly revealed its target. Trin Hai decided to use that weakness as bait, luring it to attack to find an opening to cause damage. If he missed both chances, the elite merman definitely wouldn't give him a chance to survive. The life-or-death tension surged within him like a blazing fire, making him unable to stand still. Trin Hai clenched his teeth and waited for the monster to come closer. The moment the elite merman was just an arm's length away, Trin Hai put all his strength into his right arm and thrust the spear straight into its throat. The spear pierced the fatal spot, blood splattered everywhere. He smirked weakly but proudly, I'm actually pretty good. But at that moment, the sharp claws of the merman brushed across, cutting a major blood vessel on his shoulder, blood spurting out in bursts. Trin Hai staggered and collapsed to the ground. Grrr, the elite merman, using its last bit of strength, tried to pull the spear out of its neck, growling in frustration. Damn it! It soon lost strength and fell lifeless. But Trin Hai's condition wasn't much better. Blood flowed non-stop, consciousness dimmed, and the scenery blurred as if covered by fog. Suddenly, the system announced, detected death of an abnormal intelligent merman, calculating rewards. A normal thermos item appeared. Though nearly exhausted, Trin Hai crawled forward and picked up the item. He used a special upgrade ticket. A flash of light transformed the thermos into a rare super item, a unique healing potion that produces a different dose each day, healing wounds and restoring stamina. Trin Hai gripped the potion tightly, a faint, weak smile on his lips. Worth risking my life for. Trin Hai held the healing potion tightly and drank it all in one gulp. Though the potion's strong, fishy taste nearly made him vomit, he forced himself to swallow. In the blink of an eye, his wounds began to close. Skin turned rosy and vitality returned. A weak smile appeared on his lips. I'm alive. He collapsed and passed out for a few minutes. When he woke up, Trin Hai tried blowing hard. The pain was gone, and the deep cut on his neck had healed without a trace. He muttered with a hint of surprise, this blood recovery item really works. Opening his status panel, Trin Hai checked his info level 3, no profession, 2 titles, I, and Tidewater Merman, evenly matched, born from the brink of death. Basic attributes had a slight change with a +1 boost to perception. Gaining 1 point in perception is a nice, unexpected bonus, he told himself. His eyes scanned the new quest, the hunting season of the Tidewater Merman, a mission to destroy the merman's egg nest. Thinking of the monster-filled lake, Trin Hai shook his head in frustration. I'm still not strong enough to handle that mission. He stood up, tucked his axe into his belt, carefully gathered the 3 leftover spears from the mermen, then began to withdraw. Just as he stepped through the exit, a strange feeling hit him. He paused, looked up at the gate and muttered, Is this an illusion? Why does this entrance look so much bigger all of a sudden? Curiously, Trin Hai reached out to touch the gate again, but at that moment an invisible force threw his arm backward. A system notification, insufficient level. Unable to enter this underground city. Remaining challenge attempts. 10. After passing the gate, challenge attempts reset to 0. Days until entrance reverses. 89 days, 23 of 42. Yeah. Trin Hai blinked in confusion. Has this underground city been upgraded? That means I just completed a withdrawal mission from a higher-level underground city. He nodded, his eyes flashing with clarity. No wonder the difficulty spiked and the rewards became richer. But before he could settle, the system screen lit up again, showing a hidden profession, Death's Transfer Certificate. Trin Hai was stunned. He remembered clearly someone on the forum once emphasized the importance and rarity of hidden professions. Without hesitation, he confirmed, checking that the adventurer had no profession yet. Do you want to use the Death's Transfer Certificate? The moment he agreed, a mysterious dark purple circle appeared beneath his feet. It grew larger, spreading like a ghostly mist, then swallowed Trin Hai into its space. System notification, profession transfer successful. New profession, death. The closer to death, the more effective. Strength and agility increase rapidly. 14 attribute points awaiting unlock. Trin Hai was stunned, eyes wide with amazement. Could this be the world after reaching 16 perception points? But even with his eyes tightly shut, he could clearly sense every corner of the room as if his brain painted a vivid picture. He muttered in disbelief, if at 16 points this is what I see, what would 20 points reveal? Curious, he opened his status panel to examine the titles I and Tidewater Merman evenly matched. The basic attribute effects synchronized perfectly with the merman's. Then he switched to the title Born from the Brink of Death. He checked the details when severely wounded or facing a stronger opponent. It activates +4 strength, +4 agility, and +4 perception. When pushed to the brink, add +4 to strength, agility, and perception. Trinhai's eyes widened, muttering, "Damn, this is awesome." He quickly analyzed this title as no different from the death profession. That means under extreme conditions he could reach 8 strength, 8 agility, and 9 perception. Boldly thinking, if I meet a strong enemy later, I can definitely trigger this effect. After defeating them, use the healing potion to fully restore status. He smirked, his eyes shining even brighter. The healing potion not only heals wounds, but also lets me train every day without worrying about injuries. 1 recovery per session. Training to my heart's content. A month later, at girls' gym, coaches Anne and Tu Mao looked at Trinhai in astonishment. Just 2 months ago, he was skinny and weak, but now every muscle was solid and defined like carved from stone. Coach An shook his head in amazement. With this training volume, anyone else would have gone crazy, but Trinhai endured it. Just this alone shows he's exceptional. His strength and agility must be at least 16, maybe even 17 or 18. Tu Mao nodded and laughed loudly. Whatever the case, we should congratulate Trinhai. His strength and agility points must be up to 12 by now. The physical qualities now, if well prepared, can completely accomplish the escape mission in the rookie-level underground city. Trinhai took the water bottle and took a long sip. Sweat dotted his forehead. Tu Mao still hadn't given up and asked again, "Are you really not planning to join the girls' club and become a contract adventurer?" Trinhai smiled bitterly and shook his head. "Tu Mao is very good, but I don't want to be an adventurer bound by a contract." Tu Mao sighed regretfully. "What a pity, I thought I'd get to be your colleague and explore the underground city together." Trinhai smirked in reply. "If not colleagues, we still share the same power. I plan to buy an adventurer position from some independent intermediaries. Do you have any honest advice you want to share?" Tu Mao raised his eyebrows seriously. "Honestly? The Adventurer Union. If Trinhai remembers correctly, they are the largest adventurer organization in the country, right? If you want to go the black market route to buy an adventurer position, I suggest choosing the Adventurer Union to guarantee it, or find an underground city entrance operated by them." Tu Mao's words made Trinhai fall into deep thought, full of questions. Buying and selling adventurer positions is a risky gamble. Sellers worry about encountering fake rookie hunters, while buyers fear paying and then getting scammed. But with the Adventurer Union as the intermediary, everything is different. Although their service fee is expensive, they are the leading organization in all underground city-related transactions. They provide reliable contracts for both parties. Trinhai nodded, thinking that made sense. Once home, he rushed to bed and immediately looked it up on his phone. After browsing through information in Zhangzhou, he realized only the seller in Von Tiu City was trustworthy and guaranteed by the Adventurer Union. After searching a bit more, Trinhai contacted a seller nicknamed Old Driver of Von Tiu. He introduced himself as a resident of Dongsun who liked writing. After exchanging information, both agreed there were only 2 slots left. Once full, they would depart in 2 days. On the appointed day, Trinhai went alone to the People's Park in Von Tiu City. Despite the long journey, he recognized Old Driver of Von Tiu the moment their eyes met from afar. The middle-aged man with a rugged look called out loudly, "This is Old Driver of Von Tiu, no mistake. You're the Dongsun resident who likes writing, right?" Trinhai nodded and stepped forward. He was the owner of the underground city entrance, the seller in this transaction. After polite greetings, both gathered with others nearby. Old Driver of Von Tiu urged eagerly as they waited for each Dongsun resident to quickly sign the contract. "Once done, I will lead everyone into the underground city." Before entering, a contract master from the Adventurer Union appeared to explain the contract details with 3 main clauses. The buyer transfers the remaining money into an account designated by the seller. The seller helps the buyer transform from an ordinary person into an adventurer and ensures the buyer survives and returns from the underground city. Then we transfer the remaining money to the seller. Third, the buyer must not violate the safety agreement. The seller must not ignore deaths, refuse rescue, or use violence against the buyer. Finally, no one may disclose the exact location of the underground city entrance to anyone. Any questions? 4 salaries. A team leader spoke first gruffly. The others, including Trinhai, the Dongsun resident who liked writing, had no objections. The contract immediately activated on each person's right arm. The contract symbol flashed, emitting a faint glow. The head of the guard class, an adventurer, sneered. "Amazing, aren't you afraid?" Trinhai responded with wide eyes full of surprise, eyes big and flat. The contract master smiled and nodded. "All right, my work is done. I hope to have the chance to serve you again." He left, leaving the group standing there. Old driver of Von Teal waved decisively. "Everyone follow me later. I'll lead you to the underground city entrance." Then the group moved to an abandoned building in a sparsely populated area. As they stepped deeper inside, a blue gate appeared flickering as if waiting. Trinhai felt a cold aura emanating from the entrance, both excited and anxious. Someone in the group spoke confidently, saying he was the underground city's money manager. The location of this entrance is indeed very secretive. No wonder no officials or capitalists have discovered it. Luong and the captain exchanged meaningful glances as if plotting something, but no one paid attention. The old driver Van Tiu didn't want to delay and urged everyone to enter in order. This underground city law enforcement mission is the Level 4 female demon jungle. The forest appeared before their eyes, enveloped in a gloomy color with faint light filtering through the dense canopy, making it hard to see every corner clearly. One of the old driver Van Tu's comrades was already waiting. Seeing the new group, he immediately asked how they were. Van Tu hadn't responded yet when the adventurers started moving forward. Some were excited to become adventurers, some curious about the underground city. But only Trinhai remained calm, quietly following behind, mumbling in a low voice, "It's okay. No one looks like Nim." Van Tu and his comrades smirked and exchanged whispered, mysterious words. Their suspicious demeanor caught Trinhai's attention. Turns out there were two sellers. Van Tu suddenly shouted loudly, "Everyone look at me and follow my lead." Shouting into the air, the adventurers all echoed back in unison. In front of each adventurer, a personal information panel appeared on their screen displaying basic attributes. Scrolling down revealed the task board visible only to that adventurer, ensuring secrecy. Van Teo continued to trouble everyone to report their escape mission tasks here. He would handle them one by one. Ken Van Teo's comrade nodded coldly. "Everyone start." The user, the money manager, reported the first task. The class monitor of the guard class scratched his head, mumbling no way, surprised to see his basic attributes embarrassingly low. When it was Trinhai's turn, he opened the task board, but paused when reading dense hair. Female Demon Level 4 Challenge, Escape Conditions. Listen to the female demon's voice pass through the gate and eliminate the female demon. Trinhai panicked briefly, heart pounding. It seemed that this type of monster wasn't listed in the beginner-level underground city monsters on the forum. He thought to himself, this underground city might not be like the one back home. There was some critical error. He quickly analyzed that if a beginner-level underground city monster wasn't on the newbie list, there were only two possibilities. One, it was extremely rare. Two adventurers who encountered it would die right here. Suddenly, the contract symbol on the user's hand lit up brightly, accompanied by a system alert. This person violated safety regulations by not properly reporting the escape mission. Trinhai silently observed, thinking the bespectacled man was lying, causing the other adventurers to start murmuring with suspicious looks. The contract symbol on the contract master's hand glowed, confirming that the bespectacled man was the offender. The class monitor of the guard class shook his head. "What's the big deal about violating?" The bespectacled user nervously explained, "There must be a bug. My escape mission really is to collect high-value herbs." Old Lou's face darkened, his eyes flashing a cold glare. He growled, "Contracts of contract masters aren't absolute, but for newbies like you, there won't be any mistakes. Your escape mission definitely isn't that. You're lying to us." The bespectacled user now trembled, his hands and feet weak, collapsing to the ground. He stammered, sweating profusely, just as the captain placed a hand on the bespectacled user's shoulder and stepped forward to face Old Lou calmly. "He just entered the adventurer world and doesn't understand the rules, made a mistake. We can forgive him. Sir, be generous and give him one more chance, won't you?" He gently pushed the bespectacled user's shoulder, signaling him. The bespectacled user quickly clasped his hands in pleading, Yes, please give me a chance." Old Lou pondered for a moment, then coldly responded, "No, next time." The matter temporarily settled, the old driver Van Tu continued leading the group with a decisive tone. "Everyone repeat your tasks clearly. Don't make mistakes again." The bespectacled user reported first, "My task is to find the female demon in the lake and listen to her voice." Trinhai, a citizen of Dongsan who liked writing, spoke up, "Mine is to look at the female demon for 10 seconds. The old driver Van Tu nodded. "Mine is also to find the female demon." He summarized. In short, the tasks are to find the female demon in the lake, look at her for 10 seconds, and listen to her voice. These tasks aren't too dangerous, but depending on the situation, if properly prepared, they'll be quite simple. From Yo sighed in relief and laughed loudly. Good if it's not dangerous. Hate, hate, hate. The old driver Van Tu led the group deeper into the forest toward the lake where the female demon was hiding. Follow me, don't get lost. He stopped at the lake's edge and signaled the adventurers to stop. Old Lu stepped forward, took a mysterious item from his adventurer screen, approached the water's edge, and performed some action that made the whole group curious. This is the secret trade of the old driver Van Tu's crew. Trin Hai thought silently, and soon the sound from the props spread throughout the forest. The lake surface rippled, and from the center a girl appeared. Silver hair, sharp-pointed ears like a chubby elf shouting loudly, "The female demon is out!" The group's tasks were completed one after another. Find the female demon, observe the female demon for 10 seconds. Then the next task was to listen to the female demon's voice. Van Tu quickly pulled out earplugs and shouted, "Everyone plug your ears. The female demon is about to sing." If you don't plug your ears, her voice can destroy the brains of rookie adventurers at level 1. Anyone who listens to the whole song dies right on the spot. The whole group panicked hurriedly, stuffing earplugs in. Some even covered their ears tightly with both hands. The female demon's singing blended with the flute's melody like a flame engulfing their minds, making everyone feel a strange, indescribable euphoria. Suddenly, Trin Hai felt his nose start to bleed. He startled, thinking, a nosebleed? Just from listening a little while. He thought silently, good thing I plugged my ears or I'd be dead by now. No wonder this is an underground city creature not on the monster map. Rookie adventurers are really in danger. Mission complete. Old driver Van Tu signaled to stop the music. The female demon panicked and jumped into the lake. He turned around, his voice decisive. Has everyone completed the mission and moved away? If so, let's head back the same way. The user turned his head, cold eyes glancing over the old path where dust still clung to chaotic footprints. He pursed his lips, his tone sharp and blunt, without hesitation questioning. I've investigated the plants and minerals of the underground city are very valuable. You hurriedly chased us away like that because you want to monopolize this underground city, right? We've already paid, so why can't we take some valuable items here to sell? The sarcastic words cut like a knife, making old driver Van Tu stiffen, his aged face flushing with anger. He hurriedly responded with a trembling voice, "Wait, there's no such clause in our contract." The user sneered, a cunning gleam flashing in his eyes. He had achieved his initial goal, but greed suddenly surged up. Even though the contract didn't forbid it, he wanted to see if he could squeeze more benefits out of these people. Trin Hai, standing beside him, looked puzzled and asked in a doubtful tone, "Doesn't combat expert Luong An know? Actually, most adventurers don't have the ability to get through the gate, but their main profit comes from transporting supplies and intelligence about the monsters inside the underground city." The user frowned, his tone more sarcastic. "So, you think once we finish the mission and move away, we can't act? You want to make things hard for us, or what dumb—" His expression was full of challenge, eyes sparkling as if waiting for a heated argument. But the user's group seemed unaware of one important detail. Old driver Van Tu never signed a contract directly with them. He turned his back to leave, but was blocked by Luong and the captain. Luong shrugged calmly. "No offense, just observing." The captain smiled warmly, adding, "This friend of ours makes a good point. It's just some herbs and minerals, no need to fuss over it." The four old drivers turned purple with anger, growling, "According to clause one of the contract, if he doesn't survive and get out of the underground city, we won't receive the remaining payment. If you die picking herbs or minerals, it will cost us dearly." He paused, took a deep breath, then continued wisely. "You can protect us. In return, we will share the profits with you." The users' group erupted into a heated debate, no one willing to yield. The old driver shouted firmly, "Sorry, I don't want to take that kind of risk." The user sneered, his cold eyes sharp as knives. "Really, just because you don't want to take risks? Or did the captain hit the sore spot of this underground city's joint adventurers, hiding some other secrets? Are you afraid we'll discover something while picking herbs?" The old driver's wrinkled face flushed red like a chili-eating monkey. He growled, "I get it. You're not a rookie adventurer, but here to complete a gate mission." His gang, led by old Liu, immediately stepped forward with murderous intent. But Luong, with a challenging look, remained unfazed and responded coldly, "You should feel who's stronger between the two of us." Old Liu was so angry he felt like vomiting blood but could do nothing. Finally, he turned to his comrades helplessly. "Let them have the underground city. Let's go." Van Tu dazed, chased after them, mumbling, "What are they really leaving?" The user stood there, eyes still bitter, unable to accept that those people left so easily. Four Eyes, a team member, sneered with a hint of meaning, speaking unclearly, "Or what? The super good guy and his friend always say they back us up." The person he mentioned was the captain and Luong. The captain laughed heartily, feeling triumphant inside, too kind. Actually, I'm not strong, it's my friend who is. Luong stood silently beside him, just nodding slightly quietly, acknowledging his own strength with confidence. Trinhai suddenly paused, eyes flashing with doubt. Wait, Trinhai thinks something's off. According to what Mao taught me about adventurers, the guild contract holders wouldn't make such basic mistakes like letting imposter adventurers easily sneak in here, right? It doesn't make sense. The captain was still elated from the compliment from the uncle earlier, smiling broadly. Everyone's free to choose whether to go alone or with us. Going alone means you keep the full reward, but going with us means splitting the reward from passing the gate. The user nearby growled angrily. Why so much? The bulky teammate immediately argued sharply. Not that much, didn't you hear carefully, uncle? Half of the reward from passing the gate. The captain continued confidently. These two new adventurers aim to get through the gate. New adventurers usually have a very low chance to pass the gate. Even if we split half, we still lead 90% of the new adventurers. Uncle, don't steal and then complain. Four Eyes trembled all over like a plowed field suddenly fell silent. A painful memory flashed through his mind, recalling dark days. Who would have thought a commoner blacklisted by the entire banking system because of his leader's mistake now had a chance to change his life in this underground city? He muttered emotionally. So it turns out this is a good thing. The uncle was still vaguely confused, asking, I'm still not quite sure. Meanwhile, the adventurers around quietly calculated their futures, eyes sparkling with ambition. But as the saying goes, don't count your chickens before they hatch. From some perspective, whether new adventurers pass the gate also depends on luck. If they get the gate reward early, the path ahead will be wider. But even if the user only gets half the reward after reaching level 7, he will still surpass most adventurers at the same level. The excited voice shouted, If Uncle doesn't waste resources, he really will be stronger. Let me join with someone else who agrees. Lively voices. Me too, count me, and each person spoke one after another. The atmosphere became lively. Meanwhile, old driver Van Tu and his companions had traveled quite a distance. Along the way, he kept sighing and blaming. Before signing, I said it only covered escape, not anything else. And now, after finishing, they turned against us. Lao Lu, with a fierce look, growled, All right, since we've come this far, they won't follow us, no need to act. Yes. Van Tu sneered immediately, slipping out of character with a relaxed tone. Life's a stage, why not act? But Lao Lu acts pretty well, almost making him think he would lose to that so-called combat expert. Lao Lu sighed, eyes showing some respect. But I am indeed weaker than him, and he's very wary of me. Otherwise, he wouldn't advise to chase me away. Van Tu frowned, curious. So that's it. Do you think they can pass the gate? Lao Lu laughed coldly, replying firmly, No way. The so-called combat expert is useless against female demons. He paused, then continued analyzing. That captain seems to follow the charm route. Although both are level 5, they don't have enough tricks to threaten the female demon. I guess at most one or two of these adventurers will survive and get out. Yes. Van Tu nodded mockingly. Huh, then it's no different from before. He turned to look at his companions, shaking his head in disappointment. Meanwhile, the captain noticed everyone had decided to team up to pass the level and no longer hit it. He stood tall, voice proud. I can bring attribute boosts to my teammates. I believe the captain title boosts charm by 3, becoming the captain with a personal attribute boost of 1 bar. The plan has a 50% chance to be unconditionally agreed upon by teammates, and finally team members get to increase any attribute by 1 point. He smiled and added, The special point is that a group of adventurers going together get the same mission clearance. It's not that the team leader is bluffing, but what he says is true. The team's strength is increased by 1 point. Trin Hai murmured with a surprised expression. For me, it increased my intuition. He quickly checked his attributes. I have the profession of a dead man. Basic attributes. Strength, 12. Agility, 12. Constitution, 13. Intelligence, 16. Intuition, 16. Willpower, 11. The title I and the Merman are equal in strength and born from near-death constitution, increased by 1 point. He nodded with admiration. So this title is used to boost teammates, that's pretty useful. Bonmat, still full of questions, quickly interrupted. I have one more question. This time, besides the flute call that summons the female demon in the lake, we don't know any other way. How can the female demon hiding in the lake be defeated to clear the mission? He paused, his eyes showing clear worry. No problem. Bon Mat's eyes sparkled with curiosity as he turned to User excitedly. User! I sarcastically said, don't you mind inviting him to teach me if my dog-taunting title can help me forcibly talk or anger a targeted enemy? He confidently bragged enthusiastically, charm effect -2 stamina increased. Wearing the title, there's a 20% chance to forcibly talk and a 50% chance to forcibly anger. And the angered target's critical hit is reduced by 2. Fat standing nearby suddenly shouted, he's also an adventurer. But his warning couldn't stop User's determined steps radiating supreme confidence. User picked up the largest, heaviest stone from the nearby pile of rocks. He pursed his lips and muttered, just need to lure its attention. Leaning back, he aimed straight at the center of the lake and threw, forcefully activating the dog-taunting title, causing the lake's surface to ripple violently. Waves surged as if a storm was coming. The female demon appeared exactly like when summoned by the flute earlier. Unfazed, she boldly raised 2 fingers with a challenging look. Come here, you dumb thing. He laughed loudly, the dog-taunting title's effect verdict echoed in his mind. Judgment successful, it worked. The female demon is truly angry now. The female demon's face twisted in fury, revealing her true form. Each strand of her hair rose alive like the legendary Medusa's hair writhing in the air. User had successfully angered this monster. He turned to Luong decisively. Leave the rest to the combat expert. Luong, with a serious expression, stepped forward, ready to take the female demon's attack. The team leader shouted, everyone step back so the combat expert can restrain the female demon. The others covered their ears and looked for an opportunity to attack the group behind. Eager to cooperate, the female demon and Luong rushed at each other. Fists flew through the air, taut like a bowstring. Luong threw a powerful punch, easily passing through the female demon's body. But surprisingly, she didn't die. The female demon's body turned invisible like smoke bones. Couldn't be grabbed, couldn't be held. Luong turned pale and muttered, what the hell is that? The female demon darted in front of User, her eyes blazing red. He had poked a monster he shouldn't have messed with. He sucked in his stomach and took a long breath, looking like he was about to explode. Though User still wore a careless expression, he couldn't help but tremble in fear. Wait. Suddenly, a terrifying sound roared like locusts growling, hitting the spirit and body of the adventurers hard. Even with ears tightly covered, they still suffered considerable damage. Luong's nose bled down his face, but luckily, thanks to covering their ears, they didn't collapse. Luong, with a determined look, muttered, no way this female demon turns out to be a ghost. He turned to the team leader in a low voice. Are you sure? The team leader shook his head but remained confident. Yes, but it will take some time. The love punch we got earlier in the underground city might work, but I haven't mastered it yet. It will be slow to use. He smiled, eyes glittering with ambition. Slow is fine. I guess this female demon probably has no other tricks, causing very little threat. I have a premonition that the reward from this underground city will be very generous. Among the crowd, a mysterious female figure remained silent from beginning to end. Suddenly spoke up coldly with disdain. Thinking that's a foolish choice. She pulled her hood down to cover her face and then turned her back and left. Even though the Dung Sun group called after her, she didn't look back. Trinhai noticed her strange reaction and hurriedly asked, wait, why do you feel it's not right? He frowned, a glint of suspicion flashing in his eyes. She was surprised to encounter an adventurer with a rare 16-point sensitivity like this. Was their choice problematic? Before she could finish asking, the mysterious girl suddenly activated her title, her voice cold as ice echoing through the space. They don't think I exist. The title's effect, they don't think I exist, was confirmed, and within just 3 short seconds, Trinhai's memory was completely wiped clean. He stood dumbfounded, his eyes vacant until Map slapped him hard on the shoulder, startling him back to awareness. Map frowned, voice full of doubt. Why are you spacing out? He muttered to the air, really, there's no one over there. Trinhai pointed forward hesitantly. But the place he indicated was empty without a single person. He muttered, eyes confused. Could it be an illusion? Suddenly, a terrifying aura swept in, shattering all his thoughts. The road ahead gradually stained red, thick fog, rolling in with a chilling feeling. Trinhai stiffened, muttering, It's coming, what's coming? On the other side, Leung was bracing himself against the relentless attacks of the female demon. Taking advantage of her weakening, Leung delivered a powerful punch that made the female demon's insides feel like they were about to burst. Sweat poured down her forehead, her face twisted in pain. It turned out Leung's title as a combat expert really worked against the female demon. But before the joy could last, a horrifying sound, mixed with ear-piercing screams, came from the Dongsun group. With sharp hearing, Leung immediately sensed the approaching danger, growling tensely. "We were wrong. This underground city doesn't have just one female demon." The captain and everyone turned pale, realizing the truth too late. So those two salesmen had no good intentions. The female demon sisters had gathered in full force, surrounding them from all sides. The adventurers panicked and shouted, "No way, there are too many!" A trembling voice from Dongsun muttered, "How many earplugs will be enough at this rate?" Leung shouted sharply, eyes cold. "What are you standing there for? Run!" Everyone bolted, hearts pounding. User, also known as Han Hate while running, suddenly felt painful memories flood back like a film. He shouted in frustration, "God, why are you so unfair?" Memories of Din and Tungin and the wanted A-level criminal Cao Tuadung, a level 7 adventurer, became vividly clear. He recalled what that guy once said, mocking, "Yeah, I thought about it and still decided to spare you. Who told me I love seeing others suffer, living in hatred and misery?" Before he could run far, another female demon appeared right behind him. User yelled in anger, "What kind of joke is this? I haven't even avenged Din and Tungin yet." But the female demon didn't care. She swung her hand and instantly took the man's life. In an instant, though barely breathing, the man still struggled to mutter, "How can I die here?" On map and format side, things weren't any better. They were surrounded tightly by the female demon's no-escape route. Despite resisting, threatening, or pleading, all was useless. Map yelled defiantly, "Who the hell do you think I am?" "I'm a legendary-level adventurer. Get lost." 4. Matt's tears streamed down as he sobbed. "Mom, I was wrong. I shouldn't have colluded with the higher-ups to transfer customers' money." Boo-hoo-hoo. But the more they resisted, the more the female demons enjoyed it. They grinned wickedly, their sinister laughter echoing as they slowly closed in. No matter how loudly they screamed, the female demons showed no mercy, just like how adventurers once treated their own comrades. In a blink, only 3 survivors remained: the Captain Leung and a Dongsun local who liked writing. But even though they survived this long, both Leung and the captain were blind. Leung, with the unyielding spirit of a combat expert, still stood firm to protect his teammates to the end. He roared defiantly, "Come on, I'm not afraid of you coming here!" But the captain was nearly exhausted, collapsed beside a rock, muttering with frustration, "We've been completely deceived. No wonder those 2 entrances don't allow adventurers of rank 3 or higher in." So that's how it is. They deliberately lead rank 4 and 5 adventurers through the gate to test it. And after we are wiped out, they gather information again. Quite a clever plan. He sighed, eyes flashing determination. Right now, the top priority is to stay alive and manage to escape this underground city. The Dongsun citizen looked at the captain with firm eyes, hopeful about killing the female demons. "Do you have any ideas?" The captain suddenly fell silent, his face showing a hint of hesitation, giving the Dongsun citizen a glimmer of hope. He continued in a low but certain tone, "Yes, please, speak up." The captain sighed, glancing at the female demons lurking nearby. Besides their sound attack, these female demons have other attack methods. Although their strength is small, they can block physical objects. Even though I dodged their first scream, I can't be sure I can resist them to get out of here. The Dongsun citizen nodded slightly, eyes widening with surprise when the captain noticed his presence. The captain continued with surprise, "This sound is really unexpected that a newcomer like you reacts faster than an old-timer like me. But your hearing is damaged. How can you still hear me talking?" The Dongsun citizen smiled in response. "Maybe the captain doesn't know my perception level is 16. I can read lip movements." The captain froze, eyes wide with amazement. He muttered thoughtfully, "So, that's how it is." With a serious expression, he analyzed, "According to my judgment, this underground city can't be cleared of these female demons. They are immune to physical attacks and highly resistant to fire, lightning, and acid. Honestly, this isn't a map that a squad full of rank 4 and 5 adventurers can solve, so I have no other options." The Dongsun citizen was not discouraged, and immediately replied, causing the captain to pause, "Oh, Luong found something in this underground city called Blessed Monk's Miracle Oil. Luong's monk fists can injure the female demons. Using the Blessed Monk's Miracle Oil on a sword can wound them, but only wound them. I don't think novice-level adventurers can kill all those spirits. He looked at Luong, his eyes shining with hope. Even though the fists boosted by the miracle oil are not enough to defeat the female demons. But now is not the time to sit still and wait to die. The Dongsun citizen clenched his sword tightly. His eyes blazing with determination, he charged straight at the female demons. There, Luong, the combat specialist, lay barely conscious on the cold ground. His breathing was weak. The female demons were surprised by his boldness. They quickly gathered, wearing sinister smiles, sisters playing with their prey, unafraid of death. The reason the Dongsun citizen was so confident was thanks to the hidden trump card he concealed. The system suddenly announced detected player encountering monsters with power above 4, activating effect 2 of the title Deathbringer. Strength +4, agility +4, title born from death. Detected wearer of title meets the conditions. Activating effect strength +4, agility +4, perception +4. The Dongsun citizen's aura and gaze completely changed, as if transformed into a different person. He approached and helped Luong up, his voice steady and deep. "Can you hear me, Luong? I asked your teammate. He said to get through the gate, you need to have the blessed monk's miracle oil from you. Let me borrow it." Luong replied weakly, "Sorry, I'm blind now. I'm afraid I can't control the screen to take it out for you." The Dongsun citizen was briefly disappointed, but quickly continued. "Is that so? I have another way for you to get it immediately." Luong gathered his last bit of strength. He punched hard into his chest. A cracking sound echoed. His organs shattered, but he did not complain. The refined item fragment of bone and blessed monk's miracle oil dropped out. After Luong's suicide, the Dongsun citizen shook his head and muttered, "This guy totally misunderstood me. Actually, I didn't need that bottle of oil that much." With the effects born from death and Deathbringer activated, 20 agility points were enough for him to escape the female demons and leave the underground city. He just wanted to try to see if he could get through the gate, but to not let down Luong's sacrifice. The people of Dongsun grabbed the unclaimed items, the sacred elixir. Tang Lu Chuk Fuk poured onto the sword. The blade flashed, covered in a faint, mystical glow, even though the female demons were already ready, circling like restless spirits. Trin Hai lost his precious ring. Angry, he turned and shouted in the chaos, "Hey, you guys fly lighter! You're making my eyes itch." The female demons, who were flaunting their seductive shapes, heard the insult and flew into a furious rage. They immediately lunged at Trin Hai's sharp claws, ready to tear him apart. Without any hesitation, he raised the long sword. His cold gaze tested the effect of the glowing white blade marked with a blessing. The system screen displayed a notification the white long sword was blessed. Added sanctification attribute. +2 damage points against evil creatures. Trin Hai smiled and swung the sword in counterattack. A sharp slash took care of the demons. +2 damage points against evil creatures. Ah, this sword technique is extremely powerful. Plus Aluong's divine oil. This power really makes you want to counterattack when used on oneself. After saying that, he slashed straight at the female demons. But by the wall, the old driver Van Tu suddenly saw a spatial door open. A girl stepped out slowly, mysterious like a ghost. "They don't think I exist," she whispered. Old driver Van Tu's eyes flashed with curiosity. He looked toward the spatial window. "Looks like someone just stepped outside," he said. A teammate nearby yawned and glared. "You're imagining things. You're seeing things wrong." The driver awkwardly tried to explain. "No, really." A girl was standing silently in the shadows watching. Her eyes were ice cold. She muttered, "Sure enough, they use the underground city's unbreakable trap as bait, luring adventurers of the same level to challenge. They drive people into a death trap under the underground city, stealing dropped items or killing the severely wounded to seize their gear." She opened her phone. Her fingers quickly slid to send an intelligence report. The thought echoed in her mind, the son of the client was probably killed like that. The message appeared, "Investigation complete. Your son entered a problematic underground city before he died. The adventurer who sold the spot for your son is Kin Kin Carver." The client replied, "Understood. Thulao will send 1 Kin Kin Carver into the bank account." The cruel adventurers exploit high-difficulty underground cities to kill colleagues of the same level, stealing dropped items. Back in the forest, Trin Hai swung his final sword strike. He cut the unlucky female demon's body in half. The female demon screamed in pain, fell, and then vanished. Trin Hai collapsed exhausted, covered in sweat. Around him, piles of female demon corpses stacked like mountains. He was panting silently, admiring that was dangerous. A few more and I'd have to use healing potions. Suddenly, the system window popped up with rapid notifications. Trinhai startled and sat up. The system reminded, receiving rewards in bulk yields more than receiving them individually. At the bottom were two options, yes or no. He looked at the rewards and was stunned. Judgment wants immunity from death caused by creature death. Truly overpowered. Without hesitation, he pressed yes. Silently guessing it definitely included escape rewards and completion rewards. The system quickly calculated. After a moment, a robotic voice announced, "You are only level 3, but have reached the initial step on the legendary path. New title Lone Wolf Green Achiever. New Horn Fake Pig Eats Tiger Meat. Assassin Spirit Green Achiever. Unique skill of the Achiever. Equipped with the Forging Furnace Wish Scroll. Rare grade item Voice of the Sea. A music box recording a female demon's friendly reminder voice. You can put excess equipment into the furnace to combine into higher-level gear." Trinhai was excited. Fatigue vanished. Indeed, besides rare items and a new title, he also gained 2 unique skills. The underground city rewards are truly generous. No wonder it's so difficult. Over there, the captain anxiously shouted, "Why is it so quiet? The people of Dongsan love writing. Are you still alive?" Trinhai was absorbed in reading the notification. Quien, the captain's guide, was blinded, so he hurried over worriedly and asked, "How do you feel now? Can you stand up?" The captain trembled in pain, whispering with difficulty, "The female demon has injured my internal organs." Trinhai observed his eyes showing a hint of embarrassment. "Is that so?" He thought to himself, while the captain, blinded, had no idea that the area was already filled with the corpses of his teammates. Trinhai tried to keep calm, his voice low. "Fat four-eyed uncle and your 2 squads all died here. The captain?" His eyes, clouded by blindness, suddenly turned sharply. "Your skills and identity, Trinhai. This isn't your first time entering the underground city, right? Not only that, you probably hold some very powerful title or profession, maybe even both." Trinhai scratched his head, forcing a smile. "I thought you wouldn't be the one to expose it first." He sighed and admitted, "Now it's impossible to hide anymore." The captain, now unable to resist because of his useless eyes, switched to a negotiating tone. "It's just me left. At this point, it doesn't matter if I say it or not. If I say I can help cover up your identity and give you all the rewards earned in this underground city, can you promise not to silence me? If you don't trust me, use the unilateral contract letter from your teammate." I dropped it to bind myself. "That contract fell from the guy who provoked me." Trinhai pointed his longsword at the captain, his eyes cold. "You might have a better way, but if you die, my secret stays safe. I don't need any contract." The captain, skilled at psychological manipulation, immediately countered, "Then you won't get the mission reward in this underground city." A letter and a reward from an underground city that's almost impossible to decipher. Clearly, the latter is more valuable. Trinhai appeared thoughtful, quietly considering. The captain continued, his tone more persuasive. "Old driver Von Tiu and his team are definitely lurking at the entrance of the underground city, waiting to ambush survivors like us. Trust me, those scavengers are no amateurs. I can help you distract them, giving you a chance to counterattack or escape. Letting me live and leave with you is the smartest choice." Every word was sharp, logically tight. Returning to old driver Von Tiu, Trinhai helped the captain step through the system door. He glanced at Wu Trung Jiang, who wore a delighted face, watching the drama. "See, here's someone coming out." The driver cracked his knuckles, growling, "Earlier I must have been mistaken." As Trinhai helped the captain outside, the underground city door gradually closed. The driver exclaimed in surprise, "Wait, the underground city door is closing back. They've gone through the door?" Trinhai gently leaned the captain against the wall, then suddenly drew his longsword and lunged toward Wu Trung Jiang. He shouted, "No, watch out! The guy on the right isn't simple." Before he finished, a critical sword strike pierced through driver Wu Trung Jiang's chest. His face turned gray, whispering his last 2 words, "Poison wolf." Blood splattered over Trinhai's face, his eyes blazing with a demonic sharpness. "Let's take out the weaker one first." He had activated the skill dance with death, deliberately entering a critical life state, but in return receiving triple damage and the 1 move, 1 kill effect. System reminder. Entering critical life state sensory points over 18 can see opponent's next move. Wu Trungjiang took a sword strike and instantly staggered backwards. Blood dripped from the long sword, each drop making a distinct drip sound. "Let's take out the weaker one first," Trin Hai repeated in an icy voice. Wu Trungjiang, scared out of his wits, still yelled, "People of Dongsun, you're really bold!" Trin Hai glanced at him with contempt. What's there to say? Does anyone really think they can fool others forever? And the victim isn't allowed revenge? What kind of logic is that? Wu Trungjiang trembled with anger, drawing a poison-coated dagger, shouting, "Shut up!" At this moment, the title effect Speed +2 activated. Trin Hai spun his longsword with one hand into a circle, casually picking his nose with the other. Title effect activates when no teammates are nearby, Strength +2, Agility +2. He smirked teasingly. So scared. His arrogant attitude was infuriating. Immediately after, both vanished like ghosts without leaving a trace. The fight between Trin Hai and Wu Trungjiang erupted so fast it was only visible as streaks of light. The captain, clutching his wound, tried to open one eye and muttered, "I thought I had broad knowledge, but these two adventurers' fight far surpasses the understanding of a level 5 like me." He suddenly realized, I fear this speed is hard to reach even for level 7 or even level 8 adventurers. Now I understand why people say whether an adventurer becomes a legend is decided by level 5. Wu Trungjiang took a sharp blow from behind. Trin Hai appeared like a whirlwind before him. The other guy bitterly wiped blood from his mouth and growled, "Your title's upgraded, but I'm still not faster than you. Unbelievable, totally ridiculous, unbearably absurd." He struggled to stand firm and pressed, "Is your agility 17 or even 18, right?" Trin Hai didn't bother to answer, just teased, "Guess." Wu Trungjiang suddenly grinned slyly as the adventurer's screen popped up. "Ready to unleash your secret move, no more speed contest." Trin Hai grew even more excited, his eyes gleaming. Wu Trungjiang pulled out a blue vial that looked like a deadly virus. "Yeah, no more speed." He hurled the toxin vial toward Trin Hai. He paused for 5 seconds, momentarily confused about what the guy was trying to do. The toxin spread all over his body. Wu Trungjiang sneered, "I prepared this for that combat expert, but it'll do for you too." Then he rushed forward with his poisoned whip at terrifying speed. Trin Hai raised his greatsword and blocked with force. Wu Trungjiang's eyes filled with poisonous coldness as he roared, "Try feeling the mutated spider venom I bought at a high price on the black market." The toxin quickly invaded Trin Hai's body, causing him to grimace in pain. He immediately deployed an antidote formation and stepped back a few paces. Seeing this, Wu Trungjiang mocked in contempt. "Wow, your antidote resistance is worse than an ordinary person's." Trin Hai said nothing, stubbornly maintaining the antidote mode, then suddenly swung his sword to counterattack. The other guy nimbly vaulted like a frog, easily dodging, landing firmly on the ground, taunting, too slow, you won't even hurt me like this." Trin Hai remained calm, saying, "This spider venom is your trick prepared for us, isn't it?" Wu Trungjiang proudly stepped forward, boasting, "It's a specialty of the level 7 underground city. The spider's lair can weaken the strength, agility, and stamina of low-level adventurers." He raised his fingers, counting the unlucky victims. "So far, I've killed 4 level 5 adventurers. You'll be the 5th. Trin Hai grew impatient, hearing him ramble on. "And then what? You didn't just prepare this little trick, did you? Spill it all." Wu Trungjiang was stunned by his confidence. He roared, "Is this all you've got, huh?" Despite the toxin raging, Wu Trungjiang grew even more bitter. He pointed his poisoned whip at Trin Hai, grinning slyly. "Of course not. My title, the Poison Bearer, turns my whole body into poison. The longer you drag this out with me, the more poison you absorb, and I'll wrap you up until you bleed to death." The captain clutched his chest, sitting in the corner, startled by this move. What a terrifying strategy. Even as a combat expert, if you don't strike quickly and decisively, you'll definitely die from attrition. Anyone below level 6 would be dead for sure. He silently understood why those vultures scavenging corpses were so confident. "I get it now. It's all thanks to this title." Trin Hai's eyes turned cold as he opened the adventurer window and swiftly operated, "I've underestimated you." He activated the one-step, one-kill skill to predict the enemy's moves. 4 system notifications indicated activation of the title attribute. Born from Death Strength, Agility Perception +4. Activated profession attributes Strength Agility, Stamina increased. Negative status poisoned, Strength Agility, Stamina randomly decreased. Death Dance skill tripled toxin damage. Finally, the system confirmed completion of the request to turn off Death Dance skill. Toxin damage returned to normal. Trinhai swiftly restored peak condition in an instant. He vanished like a god and appeared before Wu Trungjiang. The great sword slashed down steel, coldly slicing through the air. Luckily, Wu Trungjiang blocked with his poisoned whip, but his eyes were full of bitterness. Impossible. How can you be that fast? Trinhai didn't bother to respond to the meaningless words, just smirk and guess. He dashed backward and delivered a sweet sword strike. Wu Trungjiang screamed in unwillingness, "Don't get too cocky!" He swung his poisoned whip in a counterattack, but was too slow. Trinhai mocked. Too slow, too slow? You won't even hurt me like this. Wu Trungjiang knew he was about to die, but still couldn't believe it. Impossible! You're clearly just a poison wolf. So why are you stronger than a level 5 adventurer like me? Trinhai didn't let him ramble and struck from behind. The blade pierced through the chest. He whispered in his ear, "Nothing is impossible. How could someone as comfortable as you recognize danger when walking with death, huh?" Wu Trungjiang gripped the sword tightly, stabbing through his dying body, still trying to preach, "But if you don't change your survival strategy, you won't get far, son. A villain must hunt villains weaker than himself to accumulate wealth and martial strength. Only then can one confront the expedition team at level 5. Trinhai, his face cold as ice, slowly responded, "For ordinary people, maybe you're right. But for me, those who walk with death go to the extreme." He forcefully pulled the sword out. Wu Trungjiang screamed in pain. Blood splattered like syrup oil. He gasped at the pale body on the ground. It's not certain that one can't be stronger than death. The captain, clutching his chest nearby, couldn't help but exclaim, "Such a strong man was killed so easily." Trinhai suddenly turned around, his eyes unpredictable. He raised his index finger to his lips, signaling silence. "Don't say anything. I want to silence you."